I think when we look back to the transfer window, we'll all agree that a lot of people are underwhelmed by the transfer window. Brendan Rodgers is already planning for the next two transfer windows as he opens up on deals that he's hoping to do in January and also next summer. The manager has claimed that naturally he would have liked to get more bodies in the door. And it beggars belief, from my point of view, that he wanted more bodies in the door, because let's face it, the squad only needed quality, and it seems to be the Celtic way. I mean, we'll talk about the money that the club has made and the money it has in the bank in just a second or two, and the fact that we only spent 15 million on 9 players, which is quite outstanding considering the players that brought in are they first team ready or not? Brendan Rodgers says Celtic are already preparing for next summer, as he admitted that he was discontent with the business that was done in the previous window. The Celtic manager did say naturally he would have wanted more signings in the door. That's he's the manager, he's bringing these players in. I mean, when you look at it, we only lost 3 players last summer. We lost Jota, Carl Starfelt and Aaron Moy. Now, losing those 3 players, you would think it would be easy enough for Celtic to go and bring in 3 quality players to replace them, but we didn't. Celtic announced a record annual profit of 40 million on Monday, and they also revealed that they had 72 million in the bank. Right? We only invested 17 million in the squad. The transfer fees that were brought in, were unbelievable for one player. For one player that we brought in, and we failed. Was it the board that failed? Was it the recruitment department that failed? Or was it the just fact that Brendan Rodgers picked the wrong players? It's all going to come down to it. And the next two transfer windows are paramount importance to the club. And Brendan Rodgers is saying he is now working tirelessly to get players in for the next 2 transfer windows. The fact that he was asked at the press conference, was he content with the summer transfer window, and he basically said no. I think any manager will always want more, of course. Brendan Rodgers then went on to say, but we will work with the players that are here. I'm not saying that in any disrespectful way. I think that the manager will tell you that he would love to get 1 or 2 more signings, and any manager would. But the window closed and we'll have the players that are here. I'm the coaching manager. So he's not the manager of the football club, he is just the coach. That says it all as far as Celtic are concerned, because let's face it, you want more than just a football manager, you want more than just a coach in at Celtic. You want someone that's going to take the club forward, that's going to be the figurehead for the club. But as a coach, you're obviously not that anymore. Brendan Rodgers did go on to say, look, we have the very best players at our disposal to make our performance level better, or as best as we possibly can, and now we're preparing for the January window and the summer window. Are they expecting to sell more players? Are they expecting to sell Rio Hatate? Are Celtic expecting to sell Dyson Myra? Tell me in the comments what you think about that, and the fact that, yeah, we all know that Ange did similar thing. He focused on the upcoming transfer windows, but we've just brought in a lot of players, and it's who do you then drop out the squad so far? Unlike the first time that Brendan Rodgers was at Celtic, he didn't have any qualifiers to go through to negotiate early on. He had a free rein to check out the squad during the summer and build on what we had. But the club basically failed to build on what we had, and we brought in players that are project players, a lot of players that are project players, and we can't deny that. No fan can deny that we brought in players that are mostly project players. Being in pot 4 in the Champions League draw was always going to be difficult for Celtic. Been drawn against Feyenoord the very first game away. They are what they are. They've got lots of experience in that team when playing in Europe. We had Joe Hart, Callum McGregor in the squad that had any type of experience in Europe. It was a youthful squad that we had in Feyenoord, and that youthful inexperience at that level definitely shone through. Look, Brendan Rodgers then went on to say, I am certainly not a fantasist. I'd like to dream, but I don't live in a fantasy land. I look at the opponents who play at this level. I know the economics of it. It doesn't mean that we'll never fight or never give up, but common sense, especially the youthfulness of this squad, is where we're at. Brendan Rodgers sounds a little bit upset the way that his Celtic career seems to have started. He will not walk away. Mark my words with it. Brendan Rodgers will not walk away like the last time. He will see out the 3-year contract and maybe beyond, because he feels he has something to prove to the Celtic supporters. He said, Brendan Rodgers, you know the strategy. All of you guys have seen it. You're bringing in young players to develop them, get them to a level as part of the learning in domestic and European game, which they will make mistakes. Said, but if you're going to bring in a young player, that's part of the dance, really. They are going to make mistakes. It's something they hope with experience they can get better. Doesn't mean that Celtic know their level and they're just happy. This is a question to the PLC that probably would never get asked at any of the press conferences at Celtic. Are the board just happy just competing in the early stages of the Champions League and then that's it? They're happy to take the 30 odd million pounds for being in the Champions League and give themselves a pat on the back and then move on to the next season. You know, hopefully win the league, try and have that dominance in Scotland. That is not progression as far as Celtic fans are concerned. Now it has to be the time to be asking these kind of questions. We have had 20 years of dominance in Scottish football. We have not progressed one little iota in the Champions League. This is probably one of the reasons that I'll never get asked to do Celtic fan media, because I would ask those type of questions and I would get chucked right out the door by Peter Lowell and co. Look, come the end of October, we'll play Lazio and Atletico Madrid, and we're going to have to put a team out that doesn't have the experience. Like the last time we had players that we thought could maybe do something, we can't see this squad doing anything. It's paramount for us to get football after the new year. We have to finish third. Will this team be able to finish third? I think it will, but tell me what your thoughts are in the comments after the first game. Look, when it came down to it, Feyenoord weren't that fantastic in the first half. A couple of mistakes in the second half cost us dearly. The fact is, with 1 week to go in the transfer window in the summer, Brendan Rodgers said publicly, look, we need experience in this team. We need experience in the team to take this team forward. We have not done that at all. Rodgers told print journalists, he said, look, this is the strategy. You bring young players in, you develop them, we put them on. It is something that we knew would happen. We only needed to replace 3 quality players to maintain the level of the squad from last season. To improve the squad from last season, we could have maybe brought in another 2 experienced players. Joe Hart has been a revelation. He's not been a revelation this year. We all knew that Joe Hart is a good keeper. You don't play 75 times for England and it's all of a sudden be a bad keeper. I think he didn't like the way that Ange Postecoglou had him playing the ball out from the back. He saved a penalty in the game. He basically saved us from a complete mauling at one point. Is he the keeper for the future? Obviously not. We have the money in the bank. Why didn't we go out and spend 5-6 million on a decent keeper that's going to take us forward? We need to be building a team that can progress us in Europe, you know, just to perform, just to get that, even a draw away from home. A win away from home would be absolutely fantastic. When you look at the statistics on Celtic's record in the Champions League, it is absolutely embarrassing as a club that we cannot just even hold our own. And this is all down to one thing. And it's the inability in the PLC, the board, to just take that little step and try and get us that little bit further ahead. We've failed on that this season. We've failed on that at the summer. We brought in project players once again. And I'm not going to be an apologist for the board. I'm going to tell it as it is. As Celtic fans are talking to me, you know, the amount of people that I knew at the game on Tuesday night that were then coming home and said it's just typical Celtic. It's just typical Celtic. We take 2 steps forwards and 10 step backs. So on that note, tell me what you think in the comments. I will have the studio looking a bit better come next week. We are in a new location and it is a little bit echo in here, so we need to sort that out. There will be a live tonight. We'll do our normal Celtic live on the Friday night and we'll talk about the game this weekend. So on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.
Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up.